Hey everyone, we're about to dive into one of the most influential books in the world, the Qur'an, but maybe in a way you haven't seen before. We're going to look at how its first 5 chapters aren't just a random collection of ideas, but actually a single unfolding answer to a very powerful prayer. It's a fascinating journey.
So think about it for a second. If you were writing a book meant to guide billions of people, how would you start it? A big creation story? Maybe a dramatic historical event? Or just a list of rules? It's a huge question, and the way the Quran answers it, well, it sets the stage for everything to come.
And here's the answer. It starts with a prayer. This is so unique. It doesn't begin with a declaration from God down to humanity, but with a plea from humanity up to God. This creates this incredible dynamic, right? It's a call and a response that shapes the entire book. We, the readers, start by asking a question, and the text itself becomes the answer.
And that prayer is the very first chapter, Surah Al-Fatiha. The name literally means the opening. You'll often hear it called the mother of the book, and for good reason. It really holds the key to understanding the entire text. And get this, it does all of this in just 7 short verses. I mean, talk about efficiency. It basically summarizes the entire purpose of the book in one single powerful prayer.
And look at how these 3 pillars build on each other. It's so logical. First, you acknowledge who you're talking to, belief in God and the fact that you're accountable. Then you define the relationship, exclusive worship. And only then, once that foundation is set, do you make the big ask, guide me.
To put this into perspective, think about other core prayers. The Shema in Judaism is this powerful declaration of God's oneness. The Our Father in Christianity is a plea for sustenance, for forgiveness. Al-Fatiha, its main focus is a request for a map, for direction, for guidance.
And this is the heart of it all. This one line is the cry for a clear path through all of life's messiness and complexities. So you've just made this incredibly profound plea. What happens next?
The answer comes immediately. Like the very next verse of the very next chapter opens with this. Talk about a direct response. You asked for guidance? Boom, here is the book. You can see the Quran structure in action right there. It's a living dialogue.
So that brings us to chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, which is the longest chapter in the Quran. And if Al-Fatiha was the request for a map, then this chapter is the map. It's the whole comprehensive blueprint for that straight path we just asked for. And the absolute core of this map is this idea of Khalifa, or stewardship. The guidance isn't just about your own personal salvation, it's a manual for humanity's collective mission to manage the earth with justice and care. To basically be trustees of creation. This chapter then kind of walks us through the history of that mission. It starts with Adam, the very first steward, then it moves to the children of Israel, detailing their journey not to judge but as a source of powerful lessons, and finally, it declares that this responsibility, this covenant, has now been passed to the Muslim community. Okay, so the map is in hand, the mission is crystal clear. But let's be real. No journey is ever just a straight, easy line, right? What happens when you hit bumps in the road, when you face obstacles? A map by itself isn't enough. You need some tools for the terrain.
And that's exactly where the 3rd chapter, Surah Al-Imran, comes in. This is basically the guide to perseverance. It deals with all the inevitable trials, both the ones inside you and the ones outside, that are going to test your resolve on this path.
And it gives you a practical toolkit. When things get tough, turn to prayer and worship to strengthen that connection. Practice patience. Lean on your community, your brothers and sisters for support. And, interestingly, reinforce your own faith by calling others to goodness. The chapter even uses the Battle of Uhud as an example of what happens when that discipline and resolve starts to slip. Honestly, if you want a modern way to think about it, this quote from Rocky just nails the spirit of Surah Al-Imran. Faith isn't about avoiding the hits. It's all about having the strength to take them and just keep moving forward.
So now you're equipped to handle your personal challenges. But the guidance expands because this journey isn't a solo mission. That straight path has to be built for an entire society. And that brings us to chapter 4, Surah An-Nisa, which means the women. This chapter is all about social justice.
And just look at this. The chapter has this incredible focus on protecting the most vulnerable people. A huge chunk of its guidance is dedicated to making sure the rights of women, orphans, heirs, and the weak are protected. The message is pretty clear. A just path has to be one that lifts everybody up.
And this isn't just about some lofty ideals either. The chapter lays down concrete legislation. We see really clear rules on fair inheritance, strict protections for the wealth of orphans, and commands to uphold the dignity of women. It's a real blueprint for turning faith into a functioning, just society.
So all of this leads us to the culmination of this whole journey, the 5th chapter, Surah Al-Ma'idah, which means the table spread. You can think of this chapter as the final seal on the covenant between God and the community.
So let's just pause and think about where we are. The prayer for a map has been answered. We've been given tools for the tough parts of the journey. We have a blueprint for a just society. I mean, what else is there? What's the final piece of the puzzle?
The final piece is faithfulness. Al-Ma'idah is this powerful call to live up to your commitments on every single level. Your promise to God by following His law. Your promises to other people by honoring your contracts and oaths. And your promise to society by administering true, unwavering justice. And it is right here, in this chapter, that we find this absolutely monumental verse. It's a declaration that the message is complete. The guidance that was requested in that very first prayer has now been fully delivered, perfected, and completed. The answer is whole.
So what we've just seen is this really remarkable narrative arc. It all started with this simple, very human plea, guide us. And then chapter by chapter, the answer just unfolded, giving us the path, the tools, the social structure, and that final call to be faithful. A complete journey, from a question all the way to its answer.
And that, of course, leaves us with one last thought. If these first chapters really are this unfolding guide for life, a journey from asking for a path to walking a perfected one, what does it mean to apply that map and those tools and that sense of justice in our world right now? That's the real question this whole journey leaves with us.